So again, we're trying to stop the hips from getting too high so that we don't get into that high mount position, because now we can't use our hips. So the goal of all of these is to get their weight over my hips, because he can't submit me, he can't attack me, whether it's punches or submission attempts, if his hands are on the floor. But he's not going to put his hands on the floor voluntarily from up here when he's trying to attack. He's only going to put them down if I make him put them down. So to do that, I need him to feel like he's going to fall on his face. So I make my frame here, and now again my feet are in nice and close to my butt, and I'm going to just do a really big hip bridge straight up. If he doesn't put his hands down, he falls on his face, and then I'm just going to roll on top of him. So that's his only option. Okay? Now, if he's trying to submit me, so if he's got hands in for like armbar, if I can do that, see, he has to give up momentarily. Doesn't mean he can't come back to it, but there's a split second where he's more than likely going to bail out, so just do like a collar choke. Here, again, and now it gives me time to maybe work on my defense. Alright, so what we're doing is we're trying to capitalize on that brief moment. So I've got my frame here, my legs are in close to my butt. I do my first bridge. The first bridge is simply to get his hands on the floor. Now, he's not going to stay there. So as he comes up, I'm going to try and trap one of his arms. Okay? I like to go, so just put your hands down for me so I bridge. If I'm trapping the arms, some people go all the way through and they try to wrap it up like this. The issue there is he can still actually turn his hand out and bridge, like post. So even though I've got his arm wrapped up here, because he can turn his hand away still, he can still actually make a pretty decent post. If, however, I bridge and then I pull his elbow in here, he can't put that hand out on the floor to post anymore. So rather than going up through and around here where I'm above his elbow and he can still turn his hand out, I prefer, if I can, just to go from the outside straight onto the elbow joint, and I'm actually kind of cupping more the forearm. Okay, and that takes away that ability to put his hand down. Once I'm in this position here, I'm going to put my other hand either onto his rib or his hip. Some people, again, will teach to sort of hit their body weight off like that, but that opens up the potential for this arm being attacked because my arm's straight. So what I want to do is I want to try and keep that elbow bent. I'm going to now do my bridge that I actually want to use to sweep him over. The first bridge was just to get his hands down. This bridge is to actually turn him over. So I'm going to look the way that I want to go, but then I'm going to look up. So I'm not rolling sideways. I'm going on this sort of 45-degree angle. So I've got the arm trapped. I'm going to look over my shoulder and I start to bridge. As I bridge over that shoulder, the hand on the hip rotates his hip. And now I come up to my knees. And then straight away, I get my posture. Okay? Now, a little detail. A lot of people say that you should trap their leg so that here they don't post on the leg. Because if I make him pop his hands down, I trap this. Now, if I try to take him that way, he might step out onto that foot. If he's quick enough, exactly. And now the bridge won't work. I don't mind that though. Okay? So, to counter that, and you can do both if you prefer. So the first bridge here, he puts his hands down, I quickly attack. Now, this is the point where people will step outside that foot. Because now I've got his arm trapped and I've got his leg trapped. So now he can't put this foot here out there for balance. So as I try to swing him, he can't put that out because it's hooked. But he might still maybe use this hand to defend, or he might just be really good at moving his body weight around, and that technique works. Now we come back to the start and I'm stuck in the exact same position and I've got to go through all of that again. Alternatively, alternatively, by not trapping the foot, it actually gives me a plan B. So here, trap. Now watch, I don't trap this, and if he posts on his foot, I look where I want to go, I start to bridge, but he posts his foot. Okay, now look, I just transition to inside his knee, move my hip back, and I can get my leg inside. Now from here, I'm starting to set up my guard. So now I turn and face him, and now I've got an escape. So by allowing his escape, I've allowed myself a secondary escape. Whereas if I take it away and it doesn't work, I've got nothing, I'm stuck. So one more time in here. So he's mounted, I'm protecting myself. I make my frame because he's trying to attack my arms, my neck, all that sort of stuff. Bridge, make him post. As he goes to sit back up, his hands become light. Try not to go reaching for this while it's still up here on the floor. Okay, because there oh, just put weight on it for me. It's super hard to move that arm. If he's got heavy hands there, I can't even get that back in. But when he goes to sit back up, the weight comes off, and that's when I grab it. Okay, now that I've got this attached, I can hold my own collar, or I can just hold onto it. If I need, I put my hand on the hip, not under here. I look where I want to go, up into that quarter. Don't trap the foot, you can if you want, but again, if I miss the first escape, I've got no plan B. So stay here, he posts the foot for instance, hip escape, and now I'm back to here. And then, we can go through some of the things we went through the other night. We'll go straight into other submissions. So I'll just do one more from the start so you can see. So we go right from high mount. Okay, so he's up here, I'm protecting. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Make my frame. Bridge. As soon as his hands touch the floor, he starts to come back. Boom, I grab him. Okay, now I look where I want to go. If I can, I bridge and roll from here. And come up. If he posts his leg, because I've got his arm trapped, he posts the leg. I'm going to slide my knee in. And now from here, I can just hip escape and play guard. Or if he'd like to attack from this point here, I shift his weight off me, put my foot onto his hip, and now I start to attack with foot locks. Down over our hips, and we've made this little frame on their hip here. So our first step to being able to get their weight onto their hands so that we can trap it and do the bridge and roll or get to our guard is to actually get them to bring their weight forward. So as I try to bridge, if he leans back, he's not going to put his hands on the ground, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my frame here to grab hold of his belt. So now I don't have to reach for his collar, I don't have to expose my arms. I'm trying to bridge, he leans back, I can't get him to the ground. I don't keep fighting there for ages and waste my strength. I just grab hold of his belt. Now as I bridge, I'm going to bring his belt towards my face. So now I'm in this position, just imagine I don't have his belt at the moment, so I'm missing my first step. Do this, he leans back. Okay, now I come down, grab, and now you just lean back and I just do the exact same thing. And I pull him in here. Now he goes to sit up. Grab. Now from here, I roll. If he doesn't defend, I just roll him. If he does defend, let go, get my hips out, and we're back into a guard. So it's a very quick little change from this position here. All I do is just grab. Okay, because now as he's leaning back, I can actually pull his hips forward. Okay? Alright, so let's try that now. So now I've got a